Estimating the building cost of a residential house is one of the most important things that are done before the actual construction begins. In a construction, there are many companies offering estimation services for your house. There are two main professionals responsible for this estimation that are often confused to be the same as the other: quantity surveyor and estimator. Quantity surveyors are responsible for managing all aspects of the contractual and financial side of construction projects, checking quantities against drawings and providing inputs for direct cost. They help to ensure that the construction project is completed within its projected budget. Quantity surveyors are also hired by contractors to help with the evaluation of construction work for the contractor, help with bidding and project budgeting, and the submission of bills to the client. So basically, quantity surveyors manage all costs associated with building and civil engineering projects. Their work is both office and site-based, and the primary goal is to minimize expenses and keep them within the limits of a budget. What is more, they aspire to do it without compromising on the quality of end results or failing to adhere to the building, health, and safety regulations. Now, estimator is an essential part of the construction planning process. They are responsible for obtaining tenders, obtaining of material costs, and calculation of tenders taking into consideration project management and overheads. In other words, the direct and indirect cost of project during tendering. The part of an estimator can be a much pressured one and requires a great level of concentration, some of which will result in erratic office hours to ensure tender return dates can be achieved. This role ends after handover of project execution team afterward. Estimators should possess the knowledge regarding with construction technologies, as they're involved in understanding blueprints, applying them to the site, and taking environmental factors into consideration. Nonetheless, estimators help ensure projects are delivered on time and in budget. Quantity surveyors and estimators both help projects run smoothly. In their own ways, they help to craft reliable, accurate estimates that help reduce financial risk and give greater cost control to project managers. Ultimately, these help builders achieve the visions they have for their projects within a designated schedule and budget. Therefore, both estimators and quantity surveyor are deemed important to the success of a project. The difference of these two professions will be the project they take on. Quantity surveyors are frequently engaged in larger and more complex projects. Due to accreditation and other circumstances, quantity surveyors are often contacted to handle large projects for the public and private sector, while the estimators are more frequently engaged with residential and smaller commercial projects. They also differ on the priorities they have. The main priority of an estimator is to provide cost estimations for that are accurate and timely, with the goal of helping their clients win tenders. On the other hand, a quantity surveyor's main priority is to provide the bill of quantity, which details the quantities of materials and labor required to complete the project. The bill of quantity assists in resolving any potential discrepancies between tender documents, which helps tenderers prepare a fair and accurate calculation of construction costs. Lastly, they have different roles. Quantity surveyors typically provide support before, during, and after the life of a construction project. Alternatively, estimators are mostly involved before a project begins. During this phase, estimators must create a cost summary presentation based on labor, material, and feasibility requirements. This discussion will focus only on a part of an estimator's work, the basics on estimating the bill of quantities for a single-story residential house. Let's take a look at this house plan. It is a single-story residential building with a combination of concrete and wood as the main material. Now, I'm going to show you some tips on estimating materials to be used before the construction of this building. Let's jump into the working drawings. First, let's take a look at the floor plan. As you can see, it is a 30 square meter house with a 6 by 5 meter floor area. It has a porch on the front with an extension on the left as lanai, a living room and an adjacent kitchen dining area. On the east side, it has its master's bedroom with toilet and bathroom on the upper part. It has 4 250 by 250 mm columns, which is a little bit above the minimum dimension for a column. So, the walls here have two types: concrete hollow block walls and dry walls, which is also known as gypsum wall or plaster wall. CHB walls are to be placed in the bathroom and in the kitchen, which will have the most waterworks. Then, the rest will have dry walls. The floor of the whole house is a 4-inch thick reinforced concrete slab with tile finishes on bathroom, and wood slab finish on the porch, lanai, living, dining, kitchen, and bedroom. Our estimation starts on the column footing. It has dimensions as shown. What you need to do here is to choose what concrete mixture you will be using. These concrete mix classes depends on the role of the concrete element. For example, Class AA is basically the strongest among other classes, and it is commonly used on building elements that carry the most load. This will be the footings and columns. Class C and D, on the other hand, are the least among the classes. It is mainly used on unfilled slabs, which only carries its self-weight. So, we will use Class AA mixture for our footing. The next thing you need to do is to get the volume per footing, then apply it to the formula, and we will get the answers as shown. Now, continue this process on all building elements with concrete, that is columns, wall footing, and mortar fill for CHB wall. The next material to be estimated will be the reinforcement bars. Now, this part will be very tricky to some students, so just follow me. We will use 3 types of deformed bars: 8 mm diameter bar for floor slab and for lateral bars on CHB walls, 10 mm diameter bar for column footing, lateral ties for column, wall footing, and vertical bars for CHB walls, and 12 mm diameter bar for vertical bars for column. So, as you can see, some reinforcement bars are straight and others are bent. Getting the length of a straight bar like on column footing is pretty straightforward. We just need to get the total length of this side of the footing minus the concrete coverings on both sides. Typically, it is 50 mm. Then getting the numbers of bars will be based on the spacing provided. Now let's take a look at this lateral tie, which is bent as shown. By looking at the table, the amount you will decrease with the original length will be based on the degree of angle and the diameter of the bar. This bar is bent 90 degrees thrice and bent 135 degrees twice, so we will write the equation as shown. Then get the number of ties based on the spacing provided. Continue the manner of solving for the length of each bar by referring to the placement provided. I will use a 6-meter commercial length as an example for this estimation. Getting the amount of tie wire to be used is basically counting all the intersection of reinforcement bars, then equate it as shown. Estimating angle bar for trusses will be easier. You just need to get the length of each member, then use the 6-meter commercial length. Purlins and gutters are placed as bought. Roof sheets will vary on the length of a roof. Take this roof for example. It is an approximately 4.2 by 6-meter roof. Considering the effective length and width of each sheet, we need to order 8 9-meter roof sheets. On timber works, we will have a 4x4-inch coco lumber post on the porch. Now, estimating drywalls will be a little bit tricky. Let's take this part of the bedroom as an example. It has a 1.2 by 1.2 meter sliding window on the center with dimensions and placement as shown. We will use a 600 mm spacing both ways for our studs. So, based on spacing and placement of the window, the frame will be as shown. Then the area where the drywall will be placed will be estimated by the total area minus the area taken by the window. The ceiling will also be estimated in the same manner. Estimating the number of tiles to be used will be based on the area of the floor or the wall where the tiles will be placed. Summing up the number of materials, we will get this as shown. Then, you will just have to multiply the quantity to the price on your local hardware.